The Prime Minister insisted all of his policies are fully funded and costed amid questions over whether he had found the magic money tree. Rishi Sunak has declared taxes will be cut further if the Conservatives win the next election. The Prime Minister insisted all of his policies are fully funded and costed, highlighting the election battleground with Labour over tax plans. He told voters, "There's a clear choice in contrast at this election. Our party, the Conservatives, are promising, and will deliver tax cuts, building on the tax cuts that we have already started to deliver." BBC presenter Nick Robinson had challenged the PM over endless promises. He said, "A promise of national service. A promise for tax cuts for pensioners. A promise for tax cuts for parents. More apprenticeships. More police. More and more money from the Conservatives. Have you found the magic money tree?" But Mr. Sunak declared, "No, every single one of those policies you've been through is fully funded and costed. We will have a manifesto tomorrow that build on all the things you've been through that we've already announced. We will have a manifesto tomorrow that builds on all the things that you've just gone through, that we've already announced in this campaign, that, yes, does continue to cut people's taxes, because I believe in a country where people's hard work is rewarded. And there's a clear choice in contrast at this election. Our party, the Conservatives, are promising, and will deliver tax cuts, building on the tax cuts that we have already started to deliver, and have ruled out tax rises. That's not what the Labour Party are doing. They are not being open that some taxes are going to go up, but what they're not telling everyone is that there is a £2,000 tax bill waiting for working families across our country if they are elected." Challenged over the record high tax burden, Mr. Sunak said, "So the context is important. I'm not going to shy away from what happened. I did make those difficult decisions, because that's right for the financial security of our country. But now, taxes are being cut. The average tax rate faced by a typical person in work is the lowest it has been in over half a century. So, yes, you're right about the overall tax burden, but for someone in work, an ordinary average worker, today, they face the lowest average tax rate that they have faced in over half a century." But Mr. Robinson responded, "Income tax, going up this year. Income tax, going up next year. Income tax, going up the next year. Year after year after year. You are increasing the income tax for people watching this program, but you come in interviews and say, 'I'm cutting your tax.'" Mr. Sunak flew back, "Nick, the facts are very clear, and I'm sure your team will be able to provide them for you, right now, with all the changes, because there's lots of changes that go on in a system. Right now, an average worker is facing the lowest tax rate on their earnings that they have seen in this country, for over 50 years. The government has already cut national insurance for 27 million workers by 4p, once by 2p in the spring budget and another in the autumn statement." The BBC presenter also accused the Prime Minister of having some nerve claiming that Labour will put taxes up. He said, "You've raised our taxes by record amounts, £93 billion, you've produced some figures criticised by the boss of the Treasury, criticised by the chair of the UK Statistics Authority, criticised by the former head of the civil service. And yet, you come to this interview and you repeat something that you've said that they all think is misleading." But the Prime Minister said, "Because it's right, and the choice in this election is clear, we are going to keep cutting people's taxes. You'll see that in our manifesto tomorrow. You've seen it in the announcements that we've already made. Labour Party are going to put people's taxes up." And he was challenged by Mr. Robinson over the claim that Labour will hike taxes by £2,000.